Well, I was on the way over here, I was entertaining so many different thoughts that I can't even put them all on the paper. The one thing we did do is we searched out an old picture of Artis Gilmore, who was a 7'2" mammoth center in the 60s at Jacksonville. He played in the pros for a long time. And tell him about how crazy this guy. Look, he's amazing. Artis Gilmore.
He had a great afro, a great beard.
He was the best. He looked like Dr. J.
Yeah, he really did. Almost, a resemblance of an NBA player, ABA player in the 70s.
Right. Artis Gilmore. I don't know why that we got started on that, but the fact is, if you really like basketball and sports, especially basketball in the winter, then it's kind of on my mind all the time. Well, I've been thinking about all the old teams.
Basketball has to be on your mind right now because unfortunately, another football season ended yesterday.
Yeah, it did. And it was a heck of a game. I don't think you could ask for much.
No, you really couldn't. 7 of 8 last SEC. What can you say about that? You know what I mean?
I think
Southeastern Conference is where it's at.
Yeah, and they put a ton of players in the pros, and the games are exciting. I used to go see games at LSU sometimes. Yeah. Man, those people are crazy.
I'm sure.
Crazy. I'm sure. All the SEC crowds are nuts. Anyway, our crowds are nuts in the wrong way. Let's transition poorly into basketball from there.
Yes, all right. But there's just no other way we can't open up with this with a buzzer beater, triple overtime winner.
Many years from now, no matter what happens to Ryan Garza, and may he become the president, he will be able to look back on his freshman year and a buzzer beater in the third overtime to beat a great team on the road. It was just ridiculous.
On the road is probably the biggest part of that.
Underlined.
Yeah,
right.
It's probably the biggest part of all those little elements that came together perfectly. It was a perfect storm for crying out loud. I mean, we were there. It was overtime, another overtime. Yeah. It's just like it was never going to end. And they were about to go into overtime again.
Yeah, they were about to go into overtime, and the fans were about to kill each other. Because there was like 3 or 4 on each side that were really kind of radical.
They really were.
There really was.
The cops were like, well,
I know. Of course, the cops also yelled at me. They hated me. I didn't do anything. I promise I was a peacemaker during all this.
Well, needless to say that win put a big 3-way tie for first and 30.
Vela needed that win because of the way they played against North in the second half. They were not satisfied with that effort. They said, we're better than this. And then they came out against Sharyland, I thought played very well. They still are a little bit lithe, a little bit slim physically, and Sharyland is bigger in a way. But I think Vela executed when it had to. Mark Castillo hit a big 3 before Ryan hit his. In other words, every time Sharyland seemed like Vela had an answer.
Exactly.
On the road like that, you proved that the North second half was kind of an anomaly and that you belong in the conversation and belong within a tie for first. A very great thing for Vela.
Not only that, that's going to pay big dividends. You're going to cash big time with that in the playoffs when you're on the road.
We're going to say, hey, we're not worried about it. We played this before. We've done this, right? Ryan, man, they ran a play. It was tied. You were there. But for them, they ran a play, and it kind of went awry. The ball went, and it's kind of like 7-6. They're not going to get a shot off. Ryan chases the ball down and just turns and whips it up. It was a high arching shot. I wish we had a video on that in my kingdom for a video, but we did get a pretty good picture.
Yeah.
You have to say. Every now and then a blind squirrel does find an acorn. What a wonderful atmosphere. We were talking before.
Yeah.
You can play many years of basketball, okay? And you may never get that exhilarating thrill of beating a team in triple overtime on a 3-pointer at the buzzer. It's almost like, okay, send down to casting, get us this fake story.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I mean, that's what it was, pretty much.
Ryan, a lefty.
we were speaking of Hollywood, the people down in the pits were joking about Hoosiers and this and that throughout the day, and it just kind of happened like, wow.
But Lalo didn't bring them out and measure the rim. See, 10 feet, just like here. I have to show my kid Hoosiers. I keep telling her about it, and I'm holding off for some reason. I don't know why she saw 2001, but not Hoosiers.
Yeah, there you go.
That's me,
yeah.
Unfortunately.
So,
where does Vela go from here?
Vela just...
Kind of meets, right? No, Vela has who? Vela has La Jolla. And let me tell you something, La Jolla is not very good, but they actually have won a couple in district. They're the better of the La Jolla teams right now. Yeah. So I mean, you got to win there, and then you play the Jags on Friday. So you can't get caught up in, my God, we just won, and then we tripped over them.
Definitely nothing is set in stone, but the way things are panning out, and it's January now, and it's going to come down to the home stretch. Yeah. The way it's panning out, it's just going to be who wants that more, and when these 3 teams, North included in this conversation, play against each other at the end of the month.
Bunkers.
What's going to happen again? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It was just like the weirdest week last week.
It was a weird week.
There was the bust at Edinburg North. There was water there, so Edinburg North and Sharyland played at Vela.
Right. It's like we got there late. In fact, to one of the games,
North was up 18-2, and
against Sharyland on New Year's Eve.
And then Delatorre, he had a great game in the second half. He had a
great
game in the second half.
Inside was tough,
so
man.
now that they've got Jesse Piscoccia not back on the lineup, which they got a technical for bringing him into the lineup, but that really didn't matter because
it's worth it.
The next 27 points.
Good
that's what
gracious,
he's good
man.
for.
Homeboy,
you know what I mean?
Cold-blooded.
He's got a great shot. He's the playmaker. You know what I mean? But now they've got that month against these subpar teams to really get going and figure something out. And they're going to be very tough to beat if they get it going.
So it's a personnel issue. It's not a talent issue. Now Sharyland's challenge going forward, like you said, is to mesh the parts together, maximize what the kid can do, which is a lot, because he can jump. Look, let me tell you about this guy, man. I'm telling them about it. He was here. I keep forgetting. We usually don't go to the same game. He's relatively strong of body. He doesn't look like it, but you can't knock him off the ball. And he moves very quickly with the basketball. In other words, he'll get the ball, and he'll go, and he'll be by a guy. He'll just be by a guy. And not a big, slow guy either. I'm talking about a guard. He jumps real well. He rebounds well. He's got an amazing stroke. Remember that while we were watching him go free throws.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't hit the rim until the 8th one, man. He was just driving the goal. They would hack him, and he'd make 2 free throws. And then he'd come out and hit a 25-footer. He took that 1-3 from the front that was just silly, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's got a great stroke. He made shots. And then he fouled out, and then that's when Sharyland was in a bind.
They were up 3 at that point after being up 5, and then Vela caught him. Vela is a team that is talented and scrappy, and they're just learning how to be tough enough. You know what I mean? They're a bunch of kids. Ryan Garza. But they're coming, man. I'm telling you, they're coming.
Number 2 for Vela.
Yeah, Sparza, man, Krillo Christian, he looks like a weightlifter, man. He's huge, and he can jump to the moon, man. He's a little 5-something. I'm gonna find out how tall he really is, because I don't quite want to say on TV and embarrass him. Man. But you know the thing is, he's so cool though because he just does what the team needs. If he'll score a little bit, he can shoot a little bit. Vela's got a ton of talent, so does Sharyland. That's why that game was neat, because you had 10 or 12 guys that could all play on each team.
Yeah, it was really good. I mean, it was a great week for considering everybody was up.
Best week of the year, absolute best week of the year. Now, okay, so Economides tonight against North. Okay, here's the deal. We haven't talked about those 2 teams as much. Economides is 4-2. Okay, very quietly 4-2. They've beaten the teams they have to beat that they are better than. And they've gotten beat pretty bad by Donna and Sharyland. This is the time for the Jags to show that they belong in that conversation too. This could be as big for them as it was for Vela last week.
It definitely is, but I mean, how are you going to keep up with North?
North is such a strange team. They have so much raw talent, and then when they get it going, they're the best team in the district. I'm sorry to everybody. That's not my bias. It's my judgment. The problem is lately they haven't gotten it for 4 quarters. So they've had a couple of efforts.
That's a problem.
It is a problem. But here's the thing: with that much skill and with that good a coach, they have a challenge just like Sharyland has a challenge, just like Vela has it. Every team has something they have to do better in the second half of the season. So,
which I guess resembles their 3-way tie.
That's why we're right there with the Jags coming up behind. Hey, Donna's won 3 in a row too after a slow start. Let me tell you this. If I say that when North plays its best, it's the best team in the district, I will tell you that when Donna plays its best, it's not that close to, it's not that far away from the top teams.
Exactly.
Arambide is a big center. They got a couple of guards that are decent, and when George plays and he's interested,
he's very dangerous.
No, man, those guys, they're going to upset somebody. We're talking about the big 3, they all got to get through Donna first. And so that's my prediction, warning, and advice today is that do not sleep on Donna.
There you go, your winner wisdom.
Well, that's my first nugget, and the next will be in February sometime. You know what the heck.
So that's pretty much the district there. I mean, it's going
to go girls?
It's going to go, well, yeah, sure. Okay. Go ahead.
Because you saw some girls action too. Vela, like the North boys, the Vela girls are having on and off.
Yeah.
They're a very good team, I think capable of winning the district. Their chemistry comes and goes. It's almost like when I was a kid, I used to listen to Artis Gilmore and the Kentucky Colonels on the radio in my house under my pillow. My mother was trying not to let me stay up. You could get it sometimes, and it would be really cool, and then other times, nothing. You know? So that team has all the talent in the world. Their challenge, because the theme of the day is what challenges do each team have? Does each team have? Theirs is chemistry, right? Because they got enough talent to win it. Sharyland, it's interesting. Sharyland did really well last week. They beat Vela and almost beat North. You know, they don't look like they're doing it because they hold you in the 30s and they play an ugly style in some ways. They're physical, they bat you around a little bit. They have a hard time getting into sets and making shots. But you know what? They stay in games, and they're a good basketball team. It's a team that will only get better. I don't think it's played half as good as it can with the talent they have. Shaylin Brown, the number 10, remember her? She can shoot the rock, and so can 12. Trevino, she had 5 threes. It was amazing against Vela. That was kind of the difference. That and Alejandra Ruiz, who, when I read in the paper, someone said, well, we've been waiting for her to do this. Apparently, she's either been hurt or she's been down or something, but when she plays the way she can, gosh, I mean, she's an all-valley player. I had her with 20 rebounds or 18 rebounds, and she just, every time they needed something, she did it. She's not a great pure scorer, but you know what? She'll hustle down there, give you a bow, and shoot a left-handed layup. I love that kid. As far as I'm concerned, they'll go as far as she can take them.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I mean, that's another district. You know, it's really boiling down to what's going to happen down the stretch.
Right. In other words, we got through the preliminaries. North and Economides on the girls, because that's the other game tonight that I'm going to see. North, if you asked me at the beginning of the year, would they be 7-1 in first place, I would say, well, gosh, that would be great, but I'm not so sure. Yeah. But you know what? There they are, man. They've won 5 games by fewer than 10. They just get rough with you physically, defensively, and they make you make mistakes. That's what they do. I mean, because they ain't going to shoot the ball that well, really. It's not a great shooting team. But they have so many good kids who hustle and are physical and fast that they don't let teams set up. That's what they do. That's why they're 7-1.
You've seen them all year, Greg.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think is going to come out? Do you have a prediction or no?
Gosh, what is this, the New Year's show?
No, why not?
North could. I think actually Vela will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I had to predict, although, like I said, the chemistry issue, Economides is the one you don't want to wait around and forget about because they're not bad at all. They're really not bad. They've been getting a little bit more production from others. They've got probably the most balanced lineup in the league. They've got 5 kids in the starting lineup that average about from 8 or 9 to 13 or 14, Emily. So, I mean, I think that they get it together, they can beat North. And in fact, North needs to really work hard tonight because the Jags are not a bad team at all. They really are not.
Yeah, well, home game, so, I mean.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. A lot of orange over there, man. I see old Coach Gabe Payne talk about football just at halftime, of course.
Yeah.
Concentrating on the basketball the rest of the way.
So, I guess let's jump districts.
Okay.
And
McAllen.
This is a big week for Memorial.
Yeah, it is the week.
This is where they can pull away, and they've got the Bulldogs tonight, and they've got PSJA on Friday, and PSJA and Memorial, that's looking good. It's looking like to be a 6-1 matchup if they both pull out today.
And I think the odds are that they will. We'll talk about why they may not later. But the fact is, if they do get to Friday, that's the game of the year. Forget about Rowe for a minute because you know they're on that plane right here. These guys are like, I'm second. No, I'm second. No, I'm second. So it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it really
awesome.
Is. They've got so Memorial against East. They got some good effort out of Talamantes and Sanchez.
Hey, it's 16 the other night. That's right.
You know what I mean? So they're going to have to be looking for him to get the ball. I mean, they just need to shoot. I mean,
if Memorial can score more, then because PSJ will score. That's the thing. We're jumping into Friday, but it's okay. PSJ will get in the 60s sometimes. So you know, Memorial. You don't want to play a different style than you play, but they just have to get some more scoring. Hey, Sanchez had 10 the other night too.
Yeah.
If you get 10 from him, good God gracious,
that's
man.
great. Yeah. So staying on that game. We were talking about it earlier. The PSJ is going to need somebody else to step up. Lose Macias.
The big two, right?
You know what I mean?
Macias is great. Castillo is great.
Who else is going to step up for them? That's
there's
the big
been
question.
nobody averaging more than 5 a game. Other than that, now that doesn't mean you have to score to be effective. But I mean, the times I've seen
teams are going to score on you. So
that's right. So you better be good on defense or something. In other words, anytime a kid gets in the game, he has to kind of extend the run somehow. Yeah. Whether it be loose balls or whether it be rebounding, that's fine. I've seen guys score no points and be effective. Look at that stupid Rodman when he was a player. I mean, he was amazing, right? He couldn't make a layup.
He was on a team for a reason, man.
One of the worst shooters in the history of the game. You know? He actually laughed at it.
And now he's in North Korea.
Oh, man, my mind reels with sarcastic replies, but they will be censored by our parent company here, so as not to get me in trouble.
So, yeah,
all right,
I mean,
but what about Tuesday? Let's go back to Tuesday. Let's just say, okay, we looked at that scenario.
Okay.
Let's just say that Memorial has trouble with Mac High. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, it's very much possible. Anything is possible when you play a crosstown team.
Yeah.
There's just no other way around it.
They grew up in the boys' club together, and now it's like, I ain't going to let you get second.
And from time to time, Memorial, as much as they don't want to hear this, but they can be streaky from time to time. Yeah. And they
young guys do.
Yeah, they can get points scored on them. I mean, they've got sophomores, they've got juniors, you know what I mean? So their key tonight is to just get the ball and shoot it and make it. You know what I mean?
Make a few shots early, even a couple of threes, and you can beat McAllen pretty easily.
Get to the rim. You've got huge guys on your lineup.
That's the weird thing, Pete. It's like sometimes you look at a kid who's real tall and he doesn't get to the rim. It's because he has a perimeter player's mindset. Yeah. And we're not mentioning any particular names at all. It's just in general.
Exactly. Yeah,
so the problem is when you play in an area where kids are not that big, they'll look at you like you're the center. Or you're the post. You're like, dude, man, I can hit the 3. You know, I mean, so you want to be at a 3 at the most.
So I mean, it's gonna be a good game. I plan on going there tonight. So we'll see what happens. I hope.
Their challenge is all them young kids need to learn what their role is, embrace it, and start playing. And the fact is, man, they're in great shape. They really are. They've had a good season. They definitely don't want to look past McAllen. McAllen's got some guys. Oscar Ron Hill sometimes is capable of putting 20, 25 on the board. And he really is. And Ellis is not a bad player either. So, McAllen kind of needs this. Yeah. They really do. Because then they'll drop below those three. Yeah. They don't want to do that. They're kind of climbing at the three right now, Right at those three.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you were saying, it's going to come down to second, unfortunately. I mean, there's no way. I don't see any of these teams beating Rowe.
What do you think the odds are that Rowe loses a game in district? Is that a horrible thing to say? It's just like a joke. I mean, 1 in
it's
10,000. No, it can't be that.
No, I mean, no, it can't.
9 to 1.
It's been close. Yeah, maybe 10 to 1. Yeah.
All right, 10 to 1. Now call. No. It's horrible. It's part of the fun of the game.
Yeah. So anyway,
I'm gonna be in trouble.
So anyway, yeah. So I really don't see anybody beating Rowe.
I doubt it.
We'll see what happens for second place.
They're kids.
Yeah.
And so they may all get the flu, they may all be mad, or they may all miss the bus. You never know. But talent being equal, that's a great.
But you know what? Okay, look. So Rowe is this good because so one guy goes down when Chris Gatlin. He's out with a fracture.
Right.
But Mario Campos came up on the bench, and he's got 15. And that guy's a 3-point shooter, man. There is no other way around. 5 of 9 the other night.
Nice. 5 out of 9. And when teams shoot 25 or 30% from threes, that's a pretty good effort, to say the least. Well, okay, so PSJ coming up for them after McAllen.